I'm Donna Hetzler.
And I'm Sally Smith.
We, just like you, are bravely walking through the dark valleys of life in hopes of scaling joyful summits.
We believe that safe and trusted women are a force to be reckoned with. When we climb together, we can reach the mountaintop.
Many of our challenges come from feeling as if we are stuck while trying to ascend, hiding in crevices, waiting for storms to pass.
Might we suggest that you have a more proactive role in reaching the peaks of your own life?
Let's laugh at the untruths we were taught, from the common religious myths to the lies we believe about our situations and about ourselves.
It is our hope that our time together brings you solace from life's daily drudgery and a bit of lighthearted laughter.
This is a safe place where you are welcome, right where you are, even in your questions and doubts. So rise up, sister. It's time to conquer together.
And we certainly hope you'll say,
"Now that's funny!"
Welcome to another episode of That's Funny. Now here's your hostesses, Shimmering Waters. And Peaceful Mountain.
Oh, look at that. Salute, Peaceful Mountain.
Cheers.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of That's Funny. I'm excited. Guess what?
We're starting a new series.
We are starting a new series. I know, and we have had a lot of people reach out to us with this specific topic.
Yes,
So
yes.
we're going to try and tackle it.
Yes.
And
Bear with us.
Bear with us. And the topic is God has a better plan for you.
Now that's funny. So, okay, maybe God has a better plan, but that is definitely not something you say to somebody.
Right.
Right? Because he does have a better plan, but the thing is sometimes it's more difficult to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's trying to get you to a spot, but it's not the easier route. So when you just blow somebody off and say, like, oh, he's got a better plan and just go with it, it's like, wait a minute. But it's harder. I don't like this.
It's not a good plan.
thing. Yeah, so it's not funny, but it's funny. So anyways, we're going to tackle this, that when you say, oh, honey, God's got a better plan for you, that's not what we should be saying. And there is a scripture, right, that we think that's kind of come from or twisted from?
There is.
Okay.
So as Donna and I were really praying on this, because, a lot of women reach out to us with this, like, oh, goodness, how do we tackle this?
Right.
And how do we tackle it from a scriptural standpoint as
Yes.
well? So both of us found this scripture, and it is Jeremiah 29:11. And it is, "For I know the plan I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future."
See, that does sound like a better plan.
It does. It really does.
But what if he takes you like this way and the hope in the future is way over there, but it's a difficult path to go down, So he always has a better plan, but it is, sometimes it's a journey.
Right.
So, and we're going to talk about our story as Sally and I were talking about, okay, God has a better plan. As many of you know, Sally and I, amongst some other beautiful women in our inner circle, we started Jericho Girls Ministries, and from that, it went into this big conference where we had hundreds of women show up to break down their walls, and we'd have a different theme every year, and we did 7 years of an amazing conference. And then we were both feeling like maybe God's leading us somewhere else, but we weren't sure.
Right.
And so we were all praying on it, and the board of Jericho Girls Ministries like, nope, we need to go forth. We just need to step out in faith and go for it. And so last year, about this time in the fall, we were like, do we not? Okay, let's just go forward in faith. And so we did. We started preparing for the conference. And just prior to that, I was at jury duty. And I know God's voice. And even though I sometimes second guess myself, I always know his voice because it's stuff that I could not think of. And so I'm sitting there, and there's this woman on the stand, and I hear God say to me, "That's her." And I'm like, what do you mean that's her?
What?
Is she the one who done it? She done it? Like, what are you saying, God? And he's like, that's the woman for the conference. And she had a very troubled past. She couldn't get forward in her life, and all these things had been happening to her. Jail time, substance abuse, and all the things. And so we kind of built this conference for 2023 around this woman. Like, this is where God is leading us. And as we did, and we did our normal, like, you get out there, promote it, we started talking to women about our conference, and it was crickets.
I know.
It was so quiet. And so then all of us on the board are second guessing, like, wait, we thought we really heard from God. Like, this is the next step we were supposed to go for our 8th year, and it didn't happen. And so now we're all second guessing. And then Sally and I go to a women's conference just so we could be, fed and poured into and everything. And so we're at a conference and we're looking at each other like, this is so nice not to be behind the scenes and doing all the work.
Just
and
enjoying it.
Yes, and one of our dear friends who is on our board became the women's ministry leader there, and one of the other gals on the board was there with us. But that particular woman spoke to us and said, I feel like God is telling you to go back to the beginning.
Back to the beginning.
And we're like, what? And then Sally put all the pieces together because, she's just brilliant that way, and it takes me a long time to figure stuff out. I'm like, what does that mean? So Sally put it all together, and then we had this vision, and it all came together with the That's Funny talk show, and we're like, okay, I don't know what God was saying about the woman who was at the jury duty, and that's her, and that's who we're talking to, and it just didn't make sense. But we went forth, we were willing, we went forth in faith, and we started the talk show, which has been fun, enlightening, and really growing both of us immensely because we're digging into these topics. It's like, okay, Lord, you really have to lead this because I have no idea.
I know.
So it's been tough and challenging and good and growing for all of us. But then
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun. So in dramatic fashion, Sally texts me and says, can you talk? I need to tell you something really important. This is so awesome. And I'm like, I'm totally busy right now, working. Can we talk tomorrow morning?
Yeah, she gave me a time she could talk to me tomorrow morning. I'm like, really?
And then I felt bad the next day because it was really exciting news. So why don't you just tell the story of what happened then with all this?
So like Donna said, we had this vision of where we were going.
Yes.
That wasn't the plan that God had for us.
Yes.
So
did anybody say God had a better plan for our conference?
I think they did.
Did you punch him in the face?
I did. I was like, excuse me. But anyhow, we really felt like we were being led to minister to these particular women, the troubled women, jails, substance abuse, things like that.
Yes.
And we had to let that go.
Right.
And we had to step out in faith in this talk show. So that's what we did, as Donna said. So I have been helping someone who is currently incarcerated, has substance abuse in other areas, transition from jail to somewhere to go when they get out of jail.
Okay.
So I've been trying to find a place for this person to go, and it's really hard trying to get them there. And so I finally found this particular person that's in jail has had someone who's been coming in once a week to minister to them.
So is this like a woman coming into the women's jail?
A woman's coming into the
We're trying
jail.
to protect names, as you can tell.
Yes. So anyhow, I was talking to this woman, and she said, I think I could get the woman that's incarcerated. I think I can get into this place. Here is the name. Here's the information.
Yes.
I'm like, okay.
Does this woman generally go into the prisons to minister to
She does.
jailed women? Okay.
She does.
So this woman that you're talking to says, I think I can help. I know a place or a facility or something.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So I call this woman and I explain who I am and where I'm calling from.
Did you say, do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am, darling? And so I told her, I said, I'm really trying to get this person into a place when they get out of jail. And she said to me, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? And she said, I literally just hung up the phone with the woman who manages this house, this particular house where women could go to.
Oh, wow.
And she said, I just got off the phone. I was just talking about this particular person. and we've got a bed for her.
Oh, very cool.
I was like, oh my goodness, that's so great, you
Yeah.
know, and she's like, isn't God good? And I was like, yes, he is. You know, that is God's timing for sure. And she said, and you're also not going to believe this. And she said, I am sitting outside the jail right now, and I'm going in to talk to this particular person. And I said, oh my goodness, like, really? And she said, yes. She said, isn't God wonderful? And then she just starts praying. And after so I'm on the phone
And
with
she
her.
doesn't even know you or
She doesn't know
anything.
me. She doesn't know I have faith, nothing like that. And she
Right.
just starts praying. She just starts praying over me, over this particular person.
How are you feeling at this point?
I'm just like, okay, Lord, here we go. And so she stops praying, and she says, I'm marching in right. Oh, and so she says to me, do you have faith? And I'm like, well, yes, I do.
She's trying to convert you.
Yeah, she's trying to convert me over the phone. So I brought up, our talk show. I said,
Okay.
I've recently started this Christian women's talk show. We're trying to minister to women. And she says, oh, really? She says, well, I'm marching into this jail right now. Send me the link.
Oh.
And I'm like, the link to the YouTube channel? And she's like, yes. She said, not only am I going to march into jail and minister to these women, but I'm also going to take it to this home where these women stay, and so that we could use this to minister to them as well.
Wow. I was like, when I heard this, I'm still wow, like right now listening again, because, God does have a better plan.
Right.
It's just sometimes the line is crooked, it's
Right.
not so straight, or
So we wanted to minister to this particular woman.
Right.
We know that all of our women in our circle all have faith and know the Lord.
Right.
That doesn't mean we still don't want to minister to them as well.
Right.
But we really felt like this particular woman, the one in jail, the one with substance abuse,
Right,
the one
that
who's
was
been
our
abused, that was our
vision.
target, that was our vision. We had to veer away from that.
Right.
But guess what?
It came back full
Guess
circle.
what? It
God
came
did
back
it
full circle.
anyway.
So that's funny. We'll be ministering to women in jail.
In jail.
And in this particular home.
So I heard right from God.
She heard right from God. It just wasn't the right time.
Right. It wasn't the right time, and it wasn't, I think, I know that I'm a doer. So it's just like, God, tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Just let's go forward. And so he gave us the vision of the woman, but that was as far as he led us. So we kept stepping out in faith, but when you get those, roadblocks, or you're like second guessing, okay, maybe I got this all wrong, you just keep, he does have a better plan, and it's just sometimes different. And looks way different. So I think getting out of that box of thinking it has to be this way, and let's just try something totally different and see what God does with it, and then he does it, right?
So we were faithful.
We were faithful
And we were
willing.
Yep,
Faithful
and we were
and willing, right? So that is going to be our practice this week, is being willing. Just to be open to, what God's doing in your life, and really spending some time with him, and just, I am willing to do, this. Or if he's given you something specific, or maybe there's nothing, you're just like, I'm just willing, I want to be pleasing to you. But that's going to be our heart posture and our practice this week,
Right.
is a willing heart. And then I'm excited to see what stories come from all of you. That what happens, what doors open, not that God's limited to open and close doors, because I really don't like that phrase, but,
Right.
What other avenues come in front of you, and just be watchful and excited and curious and ready to see what God's going to do when you are willing. So, he might have a better plan, but it could look totally different than what you've got in your mind. Just like with Sally and I, we were going down the same chute of, okay, it's got to be a conference, but here's the new ideal person who's going to come to that conference. And when it was crickets, and then it comes full circle like that, it's pretty cool what God can do. So we are excited to embark with you on this topic, that God has a better plan. Now that's funny. See you next week.
From the heavens high above, I feel the touch of his laughter and love. In every moment, tear and smile, God's humor is heard, every step, every mile. Keep walking, dear sister, you've got this.